Welcome back to the Greener Lawn. Today we are going to be turning on our sprinklers and checking out our sprinklers for any kind of malfunctions. Stay tuned. Let's go. So one of the things that you need to do is make sure that you are cleaning these filters. I did not clean mine at the end of the year last year, so I will be cleaning it right now. That's one of the maintenance items you should be taking care of when you are turning on your sprinkling system. So you can see on this filter, all this right here is the debris, the reason why we need to clean these filters. This right here, these are a lot of seeds. My secondary water comes with lots of seeds. This is why I get a lot of weeds in my yard. So if I didn't have this issue because I had culinary versus secondary that I use, I wouldn't get this kind of issue right here if I was using culinary water. I wouldn't get the weeds. So that is why I use a pre-emergent. So I will be rinsing this and we'll be putting this back together. So now, as you can see, I have cleaned that off. I cleaned the filter also. I couldn't get my fingers up in here to be able to scrub it, and I don't have like a bottle brush or something like that to be able to scrub it. As long as this mesh isn't all clogged, it'll be totally fine. So as a tip, as you're turning on your sprinklers, one of the things that I do is, because we're putting a bunch of air and water into a line, what I do is I open up one of my valves. I open up my furthest valve so that it will let the water enter and it will push all the air out of that furthest valve, and it will push it out the sprinkler so that there isn't as much water and there isn't as much pressure going into the lines because it's open and it can flow directly out. So that's my tip to you guys. Also, when you turn that valve right there, turn it very slow. Let it fill very slowly. You don't want to just crank that bad boy open, because then you put all that pressure that's coming from the city line into the line. And if it's like mine, at my heads, I have over 120 PSI. I put a regulator in that brings it down to 65. But if I were to just crank that open, I would take that full 120 pounds of pressure and slam it into my system. So you just want to crack it and do it slowly. Another tip, go ahead and make sure that all these, if you have blowout valves, are all turned off. If they are not turned off and I were to start turning that on, if I was sitting right there, I'd catch a face full of it as it kicked in. So make sure that this is off. So this is how you just turn it on. Just like I said, super slowly. You're going to hear that come in. Until I have not turned it on very much. You can still see the air bubble right here. I can start turning it up just a little bit more. Just a touch. Still a little bit of an air bubble, but I'm just letting it fill up. Remember that I do have my furthest zone open, so it will take a little bit more pressure to fill it up. If you can see down and in here, I already have seeds that are coming in. I had fully cleaned that, and you could see those seeds coming in. Starting to get a little back pressure now, so I'm going to give it a little bit more. Now you can hear it where it stopped. That's because I have a good back pressure on it now. Now I can just open it up. So when it comes down to the adjustment, what I like to see is that I have just barely a kiss that touches the edge. Right here, just because of where this head is right there, it has to swing out just a touch to be able to hit all its other areas. But even with the wind, I get that edge kiss and then it comes back and in. So that's how I like to see my sprinklers actually performing, is that I get just a little bit of overlap just to give my edges some water. If I don't get the overlap, I usually get dry edges. So that's, I like to see that edge overlap. Yuck. This is why we definitely want to change these or rinse them out. You can rinse all that off. I'm just changing out heads on these, so I'm putting in a new filter. Normally, because I've changed heads a few times, I have different filters that I keep clean, but this is the reason why we would want to change those filters. So the last part, we're running a cup test. I do have a lot of overspray that I'm going to dial in, but I'm going to do a cup test to see if what I have done is working to this point. You'll see a cup right there. You'll see a cup right here. And you'll see a cup right here on this dry spot. What you're going to see in these dry spots is that I'm trying to get, in 10 minutes, I'm trying to get a 1/8 to a 1/4 of an inch of water down that I know that I'm getting good water coverage. That cup test is going to tell us everything. Looking at it, I'm getting a bunch of overflow water after 10 minutes. You can hear how much is going down this drain. I think I have a head that's broken up there. So another thing that you can do while you're doing this is check your heads and to make sure that they're not broken, that they're not leaking, nothing's hit them. When I'm edging, because some of them are close to the edge, I think I'm hitting them with my edger. Like this one's perfect, it's out away from it and it doesn't cause me any issues. But if you look at these heads up here, and I think I know which one it is that gets nailed, it's this one. See how close this head is right here to this edge? So when I go to do an edge, yeah, that's getting nailed. So those are things that we need to look at. If those are problems, then what we need to do is, since this is on a poly line or a funny pipe line, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take and we're gonna swing that out away from the edge a little bit. We're gonna dig it out, swing it out a touch, and then it'll be good because I won't hit it. Also have a little bit of potato bug action over here. They're just chilling, hanging out, wondering what the greener lawn's doing. You can see that I have almost close to 1/2 inch of water in this one. So you can see in this dry spot right here next to this grate, you can see that I have a pretty good amount of water that's going down. Looks like just above a 1/4 of an inch, maybe a 1/3 of an inch. And so you can tell that I'm getting quite a bit of good water in this area now. It's spongy, it has good moisture going down and in. So this area should start to green up. Right here where this drain is, where it's been keeping me warm. Now that I've hit it with the baby shampoo, that was one of the quick little fixes, and I have now given it enough water to break that hydrophobic area right here. Last one over here, just checking it out. This one only ran for about 5 minutes. So in 5 minutes, looks like I got about 1/8 of an inch, so I have about a 1/4 of an inch over here. So on this one, I have this light post that's in the way, and it can block some of the water that's being thrown over here because it's all on the curb side over here, no sprinklers on the sidewalk side. So it can block a little bit, not having any issues, but I just want to make sure that I was getting good coverage over here. Identification is going to be key. When you're walking your yard, check out what you have going on. Right here, you can tell that I have some kind of dry spot or something going on. So this is something that we would definitely want to check out. I'm going to run my sprinklers over here and I'm going to check out to see what's going on with this. Well, there's an issue right there. Nothing is coming out of that head. That bad boy's completely blocked up. You can see that that one over there is doing its job, but this one is not putting out any water. So I know that right there, I will not be getting any kind of water in that area because this head is completely blocked. Just sitting there, not spraying anything. That little guy right there, you are my issue for right here. So let's go ahead and get this stopped and we'll change it out and see what we have. It was super hard for me to grab it. And so I popped it back up. I went and grabbed my little tool here, and now I'll just go ahead and put this in place. It won't let it drop down. When I dug it out just a second ago, I hit a little ant farm going on right here. So definitely that's something that I'll want to address, having all these ants in my yard, and I'll get these little buggers taken care of. No, little ants, no. So that's completely clear, but this head is blocked up. So something has gotten into this head right here and it's not allowing it to spray. This U undercut 12 just means that it has 2 different nozzles that it throws out of. That high one up top by my finger, and then you'll see that other cut just below it. As you can see, it's working now. So I'm going to go ahead and do a cup test in this area to see how well it's watering. it's starting to bubble. So with that bubbling, that just means that this head's leaking, and you can kind of tell it's leaking from the front of it. As I pull it away, you can see how much is coming out. So same thing here, super close to the curb. I think that I've nailed it with edging. So I'll have to replace this head. All right, now that I've switched those out, let's see how much water I got in this area. 10 minutes, a good 1/4 of an inch. Works. 10 minutes, another 1/4 of an inch. That's good. 10 minutes, 1/4 of an inch. That definitely rocks, because that means that I'm gonna be able to only water this for 40 minutes to get my 1 inch in on this side, because this was my weak spot and everywhere else is getting the same amount of water. So with that, I think I've solved this issue. So you can tell over here that it's not spraying all the way, it's only hitting it right there. I just am gonna clean the trap. I'm gonna give it this new trap to be able to work with, and that should fix it. Now, as you can tell, it's hitting all the way across. After I got everything lined, the thing that made the most difference for me was the actual nozzles right here. The sprinkler system was put together. They used all the 3 gallon per minute nozzles. Well, that was okay for certain parts, but not for all parts. So what I've actually done is I've taken on my Rainbird 5000s and taken the 3s and put them on the corners. So anywhere that there's a corner, like over there in the corner, over there, over here. So anywhere that's a 1/4 throw, I've kept 3s on it. But everywhere else, if it is a 1/2 throw, I have put 4s on it. If it's a 3/4 throw, so 3/4 of a head. So if I had one right here and it had to throw this way and then back this way, that's 3/4. I have put 5s on those. And out in the middle out here, I have put 6 gallons per minute. The reason why is that as they make the further passes, it takes more time and you're getting less water down if you don't have a bigger head in there. So compensating for those different pieces has made a huge difference. You can see that my backyard just isn't that great. It's crazy how much those gallons per minute heads made a difference. I did run my cup test on this, and it actually put down within the 10 minutes a 1/4 inch in my dry areas from before. Love my tripod. It's in the way. Not going to move it. It's going to be a part of the shot. So everywhere that you see that looks lumpy and stuff, after a little bit of time, it's going to actually start to fill in. It's going to start to look good. The color already is starting to look a lot better. It's starting to be green back here. This has never been a good area for me, and I thought because my sprinklers were in a line, so I have 3 sprinklers that are here, middle, back, and they're just in alignment, where I'd much rather see them go here and in the back, same place, but this one offsets in between this station and this station over here. I thought that because it wasn't, I'd have to dig it all up. Then I figured out these gallons per minute on the heads, and I've switched it and already seeing promise. So that's definitely something that if you're having a hard time with your sprinklers, is looking at more gallons per minute or upping the how long you're running it. But when I'm getting a lot in my corners, and my corners look fine, but my middle's not doing well, that's because something's amiss. Either it's not lined up or it's not getting enough water. So I aligned it so that this head hits the middle head, which then the middle head hits this head and that end head, and that end head hits the middle head. So they all have head-to-head coverage. This one over here touches this one. This one over here touches this one, so that you have this head-to-head coverage, so you're throwing back and forth. And that's how it's supposed to be. When it comes down to sprinklers, it can be a trick, it can be a challenge, it can be something that is a difficult thing to master at first, but the more that you tweak them and fine-tune them, the better they become. There's all types of different things that you can do for them. You can do adjustments on how they spray, you can put them in different places, you can put different nozzles and heads in. All of them are going to make an impact on the ultimate way that they water. So when it comes down to it, for the season, after we've turned them on and unwinterized our systems, and we go around and we check it out, we're just making adjustments for what we see. We're checking it out, we're looking for dry spots, we're looking for issues where it's leaking, we're looking for anything that could be a problem coming out of winter. They've been winterized, they've been sitting in storage. It's always good to, even throughout the season, to go ahead and check your heads. Go and take those filters that I was changing. I change mine twice a year, at the beginning of the year and in July, so that I keep as much sediment out of my lines as possible. So those are my 2 times that I change that filter on my box and in my sprinkler heads. I then, look around and make sure that everything's working as it's supposed to. Those are the things that you should do coming out of winter to make sure that your sprinklers are working the way that they're supposed to be working. If you don't, you're going to run into some issues. Not a big deal, just do it at the point where you see the issues. You see something, diagnose it. It's pretty easy. You can have blocked heads. You can have missed spots because you don't have the right coverage. You're not putting down enough water. That's where the cup test comes in really handy. Those types of things are going to be huge and key during this period of time. Start your season off right, get it going, and be good with your sprinklers. Question for this week: do you guys feel comfortable working on your sprinkler system, changing heads, changing filters, doing those types of things? If you're not, after watching this video, do you feel like you could be? Because those are the things that will make your lawn go to the next level. 2 best things for your lawn: mowing and water. If you mow often and regularly and don't stress it out with the 1/3 rule, you're going to have a thick, lush lawn as long as you do this part of it, the sprinkler. It's getting enough water. You're getting 1 to 1 1/4 inch of water down in the area per week. You're not going to have any issues. These are the 2 things that will make your lawn go to the next level. I'm Jeremy of The Greener Lawn. Make her green.
Next level.